Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills, there stood an old house. This house had a reputation, one that sent shivers down the spines of anyone who dared to speak its name. It was known as the Whispering House. The Whispering House had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember. Its wooden shutters hung crookedly on the windows, and ivy had wound its way up the crumbling walls. Locals claimed that strange things happened inside, things that couldn't be explained. One crisp autumn day, 4 friends named Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Lisa decided to put the rumors to the test. They gathered outside the Whispering House, their breath visible in the chilly air. They had all heard the stories, the whispers that echoed through the halls, the doors that opened and closed by themselves, the eerie glow in the windows at night. Jack, the adventurous one of the group, was the first to speak. "Are we really going in?" Sarah, always curious, replied, "We have to see if it's true, don't we?" Mark, the skeptic, scoffed, "This is just superstition. There's no such thing as haunted houses." Lisa, who had heard countless ghost stories from her grandmother, couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. "Well, if there's nothing to be afraid of, then let's prove it." With a mixture of trepidation and determination, they pushed open the creaking front door and stepped into the Whispering House. The air inside was stale, and dust motes danced in the sunlight that filtered through the cracked windows. They began to explore room after room, their flashlights revealing peeling wallpaper, discarded furniture, and an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. As they ventured deeper into the house, a sense of foreboding settled over them. Shadows seemed to move on their own, and strange noises echoed through the hallways. It wasn't long before even Mark, the skeptic, felt a chill run down his spine. "I don't like this," Lisa whispered, her voice barely audible. But Jack was determined to press on. "Come on, guys, it's just an old house. Let's not chicken out now." As they continued their exploration, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Whispers seemed to drift through the walls, too faint to make out words, but unsettling nonetheless. "I heard something," Sarah said, her voice trembling. Mark dismissed it. "Probably just the wind." But Lisa knew it wasn't the wind. She had heard it too. A faint, ghostly whisper that sent shivers down her spine. They reached the grand staircase, its ornate banister worn with age. The stairs creaked beneath their feet as they began to ascend. It was as if the very house was alive, its timbers groaning and protesting their presence. On the second floor, they explored room after room, each one seemingly frozen in time. Old portraits stared down at them from the walls, their eyes following their every move. Dust-covered furniture lay draped in white sheets, as if waiting for a guest who would never arrive. The sense of being watched grew stronger, and the whispers grew louder. It was as if the very walls of the Whispering House held secrets that longed to be revealed. In one room, Jack's flashlight beam fell upon an old dusty mirror. He approached it, curiosity getting the better of him. As he looked into the mirror, he froze. Staring back at him was not his own reflection, but the pale, ghostly face of a young girl. Her eyes were hollow and her lips moved silently, forming words that he could not hear. Jack stumbled back, his heart pounding. Did anyone else see that? The others rushed over, but the mirror showed only their own reflections. "It was probably just a trick of the light," Mark said, though his voice wavered. But Jack knew what he had seen. It was as if the Whispering House was trying to communicate with them, to tell them its secrets. As they continued their exploration, they came upon a room at the end of the hallway. The door was slightly ajar, and a soft, inviting light spilled out from within. They exchanged glances, and with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, they pushed the door open. Inside, they found a room bathed in a soft golden glow. The walls were adorned with intricate wallpaper, and a crystal chandelier hung from the ceiling. In the center of the room stood an antique music box, its delicate melody filling the air. The room felt different, as if it existed outside of time. The whispers were louder here, their words almost discernible. Lisa approached the music box and carefully lifted its lid. The haunting melody continued to play, and as she peered inside, she saw a small porcelain figurine, a ballerina frozen in mid-dance. As they watched, the figurine seemed to come to life, spinning gracefully to the music. The room seemed to sway with the motion, and the whispers grew more insistent, as if urging them to stay, to listen, to understand. It was as if the very walls of the whispering house were pleading with them, begging them not to leave, to stay and uncover the secrets that lay hidden within. But the four friends pushed open the front door and stepped out into the crisp autumn air, their hearts pounding, their minds filled with questions and unease. As they walked away from the whispering house, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had left something behind, something that wanted to be heard, something that had been waiting for them. That night, as they lay in their beds, they heard the whispers once more. They were no longer faint and distant, but loud and clear, as if the very walls of their homes were speaking to them. The whispers told of a tragic tale, a tale of a young girl who had once lived in the whispering house. Her name was Isabella, and she had loved to dance. But her life had been cut short, and her spirit had remained trapped within the walls of the house, longing for release. Over the following days, the whispers grew louder, and the four friends could no longer ignore them. They returned to the whispering house, determined to uncover the truth. As they entered the room with the music box, the whispers reached a crescendo, and Isabella's voice filled the air. She told them of her love for dancing, of the joy it had brought her, and of the tragic accident that had taken her life. Tears filled Lisa's eyes as she listened to Isabella's story. "We have to help her," she said. Together they searched the room and found an old diary hidden beneath the floorboards. It belonged to Isabella, and it told of her dreams, her hopes, and her love for dancing. As they read Isabella's words, the room began to glow with a soft light, and the music box started to play once more. The porcelain ballerina twirled gracefully, as if dancing to Isabella's memory. And then, in a moment of pure magic, Isabella herself appeared before them, a translucent figure, her eyes filled with gratitude and joy. She danced, her ethereal form moving with grace and beauty, as if finally free to express the passion that had been locked away for so long. With a final joyful twirl, Isabella faded away, leaving behind a sense of peace and fulfillment. The whispers in the whispering house ceased, and the old mansion seemed to sigh with relief, as if a long-held secret had been shared, and a restless spirit had found release. The four friends left the whispering house that day, their hearts light and their minds filled with wonder. They had witnessed something truly extraordinary, something that defied explanation. And as they looked back at the old house, they knew that it was no longer the whispering house, but a place of beauty, of magic, and of a dance that would be remembered for all time. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, but the memory of their encounter with Isabella and the whispering house remained vivid in their minds. The four friends couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the old mansion and the spirit that had once dwelled within its walls. As the autumn leaves began to fall, they decided to return to the whispering house one more time. They wanted to pay their respects to Isabella and to ensure that her memory lived on. When they arrived, they were surprised to find that the old mansion had undergone a transformation. The ivy that had once choked its walls had withered away, revealing the beauty of its architecture. The windows that had once been dark and foreboding now sparkled in the sunlight. As they stepped inside, they were greeted by a sense of warmth and welcome. The whispering house no longer felt eerie and unsettling. Instead, it radiated a quiet serenity. In the room with the music box, they found a single red rose placed beside it, a symbol of love and remembrance. The music box played Isabella's favorite melody, and the room seemed to come alive with the memory of her presence. Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Lisa sat together, their hearts filled with gratitude for the experience they had shared. They knew that they had been touched by something extraordinary, something that had brought them closer together and had changed their lives forever. As they left the whispering house for the final time, they knew that they were leaving behind a place haunting whispers, but for the enduring tale of Isabella, a tale of love, loss, and the power of friendship to transcend even the darkest of mysteries. As they looked back one last time at the old mansion, they couldn't help but smile. knowing that they had played a part in bringing light to a place that had once been shrouded in darkness. And as the sun set behind the hills, casting a warm golden glow over the Whispering House, they knew that Isabella's spirit would forever dance in its hallowed halls, a testament to the enduring power of love and the beauty of the unknown. But as the years passed, the memory of the Whispering House began to fade. The town's younger generation paid little heed to its history, and the old mansion once again fell into disrepair. Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Lisa grew older, their lives filled with the responsibilities and demands of adulthood. They had families of their own, and the demands of daily life left little time for the memories of their youth. But one autumn day, as they gathered together for a rare reunion, the topic of the Whispering House came up. They reminisced about the strange and wondrous events of that fateful day, and their faces lit up with the joy of shared memories. "I wonder if the Whispering House is still there," Lisa mused. "It's been so long since we visited." Jack, ever the adventurer, suggested, "Why don't we go back and see? Maybe it's still as magical as we remember." And so, on a crisp autumn morning, the four friends made their way back to the town where they had spent their youth. As they approached the familiar hills, they couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia. But when they arrived at the location of the Whispering House, they were met with a sight that filled them with sorrow. The old mansion had fallen into complete disrepair. Its once glistening windows were shattered, its walls were covered in graffiti, and the ivy that had once adorned its exterior had withered away. Tears welled up in Lisa's eyes as she gazed upon the sorry state of the house. "It's such a shame. The Whispering House used to be so beautiful." Sarah nodded, her voice filled with sadness. "It's as if all the magic has been drained from it." They ventured inside, their footsteps echoing in the empty, decaying halls. The whispers that had once filled the house were now gone, replaced by a haunting silence. In the room with the music box, they found only dust and decay. The music box itself had been stolen, leaving behind an empty space that seemed to mock their memories. Jack, Sarah, Mark, and Lisa walked through the rooms, their hearts heavy with the weight of time and loss. The Whispering House, once a place of wonder and mystery, had become a forgotten relic of the past. As they made their way back outside, they couldn't help but feel a deep sense of melancholy. The magic of their youth, the memory of Isabella's dance, and the enduring bond of their friendship all seemed like distant echoes in the autumn breeze. And so, they left the Whispering House for the last time, their footsteps echoing in the empty halls. The once magical place had become a ghost of its former self, a testament to the passage of time and the fleeting nature of memories. As they stood outside looking at the crumbling mansion, Jack spoke quietly, his voice filled with resignation. "It's time to let go of the past. The Whispering House is no more." And with heavy hearts, they turned away from the once magical place and walked back toward their own lives, carrying with them the bittersweet memories of a time when the world was filled with wonder, when the whispers of a haunted house had been a source of excitement, and when the dance of a young spirit had touched their hearts. But in the quiet corners of their minds, they knew that the Whispering House would forever live on in their memories, a place where the past and the present intertwined, where the line between reality and magic blurred, and where the echoes of a young girl's dance would forever haunt their souls.